Heading live.
We're early.
Oh,
I
we
try
are?
my little TikTok,
I got 29.
yeah. Better make sure people don't wanna miss.
What will your flights canceled, though? Then I'll put you in a bind. You
Oh,
So you could probably just leave that
yeah.
on.
Then we got a ticket and it was a scam and Bev didn't notice it and we had to cancel both our credit cards.
Oh, my gosh.
So it wasn't a good day.
No, I guess not.
Well, I had somebody still $400 out of my account.
Your checking account, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
my checking account.
Really?
And to a credit card company with the woman's name. And luckily Peoples gave it back to me, but I had to get a whole new account.
Mhm.
And I'm still waiting on checks because they were gonna give me free
Well,
checks.
I only have one credit card, so I don't even have a credit card now that my gas, I always buy my gasoline on the credit card.
Yeah. Paying at the end, yep.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How's the situation going with you all with getting Glenn replacement, Dennis? Should I,
I'm sorry.
how's it going with the replacement for Glenn?
Not this coming Monday, but the next Monday, we have our meeting in.
Oh, it's not the
I think it's the 21st. It's the third Monday, and so it couldn't be further away because February started on a Tuesday. So it's as far away as you
I
can.
need to let the Secretary of State know that I think we only have 14 days.
It said 15, I think,
15
on that
days.
paper that we looked
So that's
at.
why I was thinking the 14th we would be okay.
Yeah, well, that's why I'd ask Mr. Ray to make it effective. You know,
March 1st.
sort of
Or no, February.
middle of the month, or,
Yeah.
you know, like the Friday before the Monday.
Okay,
And
So-
somehow that didn't
Didn't
work.
work.
Effective February 1.
He didn't listen too good tonight.
yeah,
Well, I had spoken to them at
because the,
Evans, they were gonna give me a written document. I said, you know, if you could make it effective like mid-Feb, that would work for us.
yeah,
And,
because Mandy
So I
looked
was
at that
surprised.
yesterday and the Secretary of State can appoint somebody if we don't do it within that time. So I'm gonna, I'll call.
No quicker than he appoints you when you're recommended.
Well, that's true. I mean, how long it
Is it a temporary appointment? or-
I don't know.
well, you could also make you could ask for I'm certain
Extension.
it was an emergency meeting, if you will, of the committee.
For an interim appointment?
You know,
Yeah,
or an interim appointment,
okay, I'll find out from them and let you guys know.
yeah. Yeah. Well, again, welcome, perhaps those that are viewing our February 11, 2022, our regular meeting that was scheduled for Friday so we could have everyone here, given that there are three of us. And I think we had minutes sent out to us, and I noticed they're also in a packet.
I move to accept the January 10th minutes as submitted.
The only thing I need to change the date on it. I had the date is still Wednesday, I think. Did I not for the next meeting? Or did I put the 11th?
No, Wednesday.
Yeah, so I need to
But
change
it was
that.
at that time,
It was at that time, yeah,
so this is
okay,
correct.
okay.
Right.
He made a motion to second.
Yes, I did.
I'll second it. Sorry.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
It passes. We have a number of bills, a lot of them associated with our trip to Columbus for a conference.
Yeah, I did want to make sure I made up ones here for Kadeen and for Charlie. So I wondered if they want to look at them here, make sure they look good before we vote on.
What is this?
It took them
So
forever
that's for the
send
hotel
us
bill
your
and then like for mileage and your parking and things. Because there's a sheet in there that you'll have to sign that, underneath there that you're okay with it.
It was 2 nights, wasn't
I'm not gonna do any mileage.
Okay, so I'll change yours
Other
then.
than that, cause I drove up and with Bev and we did some things, so I'm not gonna do any mileage, and I rode back with Dennis, so I don't want the mileage.
Okay, so I can
So
take
do I
that.
just sign it or just?
Yeah, wait for, because I'll change.
She'll have to change
Yeah, I'll
that.
change it.
Oh, you
But yours is okay, you can go ahead and sign that one. Actually, you could go ahead and sign this inside one, because I'll just.
Yeah, you can just remove it, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I'll wipe that out. And then I'll change the email on
So we're getting our own sidewalk salt these days,
we just bought a bag of,
just to be safe. Smart.
Chuck does a good job, but right up here,
Yeah.
and it took forever for this to,
Well, we've always had that problem. This is just the lay of the land. I mean, back in the day, there've been times when we've had enormous, icicles.
Yeah.
coming down.
Yeah,
well, this corner back in here, it took him all week. It's fine.
yeah,
Now it's fine.
But this side doesn't, we don't get sun all the way up to here.
right,
So,
exactly.
but yeah, we just go ahead and get it. Hello?
Hello,
Hi, come on in.
How did it?
hi.
Okay, so Charlie's amount there for instead of the $482.92, it'll be $374.68. So I'll make that change for the amount now.
I'll make a motion to accept the bills as presented.
second that.
Sorry, beforehand, actually,
That's okay, we can have discussion.
there at the bottom. From
RBM.
RBM, yeah, those were actually, there was a bill we had missed somehow from in 2020. And that's what that 5,900.
Is that the one that Todd was emailing?
Yeah, that
me
Todd's
on?
been
Okay,
asking.
because I was going back through and because it was a day you weren't here and I was looking at the bills and I said, Todd, I can't see anything that we had. I said, but maybe, so, okay, good.
This was the copy of it
To the-
here.
Based on the correction that we made, we didn't do that, so.
So I'll second Charlie's motion with the corrected amount for Charlie's 2022 winter conference expenses.
Right. And here, if you want to look, is this invoice that was dated back June of 2020.
Calling for the meeting.
So they've certainly been rather relaxed
He was
with
supposed
us
to call
about
in and talk
collection.
about that bill.
Oh,
Well, wasn't there
Did you get the
a,
phone on the floor?
Yeah.
wasn't there that's the problem with lateness and so forth. And it just seemed to me that there
What's that number?
was some bill
Transfer?
where we
What's
had
the
a
number it
discussion
says on
about
there, Karen?
what
Are we
the
conference room
right
or what are
amount
we?
should be or what they were gonna do,
3101?
or they were
I
gonna
think it'd
give
be
us some
conference
kind of
room.
benefit or
Yeah.
something.
3101.
Was it the one because of the,
Oops, I'm
the
sorry.
computer, or the printer, whatever,
Todd's
that was all switched up?
Wait, it
Well,
says
it could have
network
been,
now.
or it could have been before that because we kept having trouble, because we had a machine that would never work. We had it replaced internal 2 or 3 times, but they kept showing up.
We purposely didn't pay it because
Yeah, we never
it was
paid.
it was broken in the box,
Right,
if
but,
that's the one.
but we had the one before that I thought was back a couple of years where they gave us that
We
company.
had that loaner.
That we had the loaner and we had one that never worked and you kept tearing it apart.
Todd?
And they brought people and we had telephone.
Hey, Todd, this is Karen. Hold on, I'm gonna put you on
So
speaker.
that wasn't for this.
Oh,
Okay.
That,
okay.
yeah, this was
So this is just a regular,
Yeah, this was just kind of some
Expenses.
service
Yeah,
days.
that one.
That's-
Todd?
Yes,
Okay, hold on. All right, I've got the board here. We're in the middle of our meeting and so you can go ahead and talk about what you want.
oh great, how's everybody doing?
Good, thank you.
we're doing good. How are you and your, was it a hip?
Yeah, it's a hip, and I'm 5.5 weeks into it, and I'm walking with a cane and doing great.
You're not playing golf?
No.
Oh, boy, you better get to work. I think I was ready for golf after 6 weeks.
I'm not to 6 weeks yet, maybe that's gonna be a week and a half.
Well, that's why I said, get to work.
Hey, the reason I was calling, we've got an old invoice that's been hanging out there I've talked with Mandy a couple times on it, and I just needed to find out if there's some problem with it, because I don't know why it hasn't been paid. It's getting kind of, it's really been on the books here for a while.
As near as we can tell, we just apparently missed it.
Okay,
Because it looks like it's just straight up layout, doing the coding, the LNA, and then came in with poll worker training and support.
right.
So, yeah,
And again, it was 2020 and you can just use that as an excuse.
Oh, I have no problem. I just wanted, I just had to get it cleared up, and my guys were asking, and I said, well, we've talked a little bit, and I don't know if there's an issue, so I just wanted to make sure that you were looking at it.
oh yeah, we're gonna take care of it for you.
We already made a motion today to pay it, so it should be coming in the mail. You know the old story, it's in the mail.
Checks in the mail.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you,
Yeah,
Todd.
heal up.
Get well.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, my
Sorry for my
guess.
lateness there.
Oh, hey.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, Caleb?
All right, so we've already made a motion and a second.
Yeah, so is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right. Oh, public. I kind of skipped public comment here, zipping on to bills and so forth.
Well, I texted Westfall about the door. He hasn't got back with me yet. They told me it'd be at least a month before he got the door, so.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Well,
So good.
We haven't heard anything from the church, have we, about not getting it done or anything?
I actually called, come on, Jed,
What's her
the
name?
secretary.
I know.
Oh, Mary, is it Mary?
Mary?
Ellen?
So we know the position.
They know we're on top.
The church secretary.
I told her, so, but
Just as long as we keep them happy, they know what we're doing, that's the
Yeah.
why
important
can't I
thing.
see that woman's name?
Well,
That's all right.
that'll happen
Yeah, that's right.
when you get to be 50 years old, these things happen.
Thank you, Dennis.
Oh, I'm Janet Kidd, Village of Lower Salem. I'm the clerk treasurer, I'm not a. Anyway, the council would like to know if there was ever any chance of returning the community building to a polling place as it used to be many years ago. We haven't had it as a polling place, of course, since 1998, but we put a ramp and everything in so we could be accessible, and that was my question. I know you're looking at schools, so,
Yes, we are.
you know, that was all I wanted to know. So,
We have been looking with Lower Salem, because you're at the Paw,
no,
no?
well, that was where I voted last year.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's okay.
And there's the elementary school that's down the road, for lack of a better way of putting it. Maybe it's up the road if you're going north, I don't know. The gymnasium is there.
Yeah,
Has a fair amount of parking, and it looked like enough space if they were going to have school, that still there would be a sufficient parking and for the buses to get by when they either showed up or et cetera. And one of the things was a walkway issue, and then we discovered it seemed like they had electricity. We were trying to make sure there would be sufficient electricity simply to run the equipment and so forth. And it would certainly make a better area from the standpoint of space, and the parking is asphalt, and it's not too far from where folks had been voting before. So at least that's clearly on our radar, and I know that the staff, because that's Fort Fry, and so I think we've made at least an inquiry, am I correct?
Mhm.
With the superintendent about, how would that work? Or would it be possible to make that a in-service day or something where there wouldn't actually be students as well, so there wouldn't even be a bus issue and so forth, and there's sort of a natural loop the way they have their roads, so we're looking at that, and I'll be honest, I don't recall that we have revisited the building. Wait,
I can't remember her name. Who
Was it
here?
Peggy?
Peggy,
Peggy,
Mhm.
probably.
She did a lot of the ADA.
Yeah, she came out and looked at it.
Where's your building located?
Okay. It is the last building in the village of Lower Salem on the right. It was originally a school building way back in the good old days. And that's our village hall, it's a community center.
Is it after the baseball field? There's is it where the Meals on Wheels, the
Yes,
senior?
yeah.
Okay, I know
Yeah.
where it is, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Past the bank and post office.
Yeah. In talking with Stephanie Starcher, the superintendent of Fort Fry Schools, I told her that, we had some issues with the sidewalks and that we thought we might have some HALBA money or ADA money left over, that we might be able to upgrade that. And she was fine with that. She said, just work with their contractors to do that. So, and she said maybe even the school can kick in too. Originally, I think the gym belonged to the association, the alumni association, but when Stephanie became superintendent, she took it back under Fort Fry's wing. So it is actually Fort Fry's. Pardon me?
I did not know that.
I didn't either until she told me. So, but surprisingly, there's plenty of electricity in there when we visited all the schools in December. And she said even parking there, that would be fine because just that day the students wouldn't have use of the gym. The bus issue, she said, everything can be worked around. I'm not sure that Fort Fry, I know that they talked about it at their board meeting according to the newspaper. But at least as far as, she's one of the schools that said they weren't necessarily interested in closing the schools and doing an in-service day.
right. Well, that's why we're sort of looking
So we're
toward
trying- yeah.
Waterford as
Well,
well.
recall they're now talking about closing that school.
At one point completely?
Yeah, they're talking about that.
Well,
right now.
I know in their planning, yeah, their major planning, so I mean, if they do in fact close that,
Want the school
yeah,
closing stuff on.
yeah.
Well, we haven't made we haven't made a final decision.
Yeah,
So it's certainly something we could go visit. I mean, there's no reason we
Yeah, we can
couldn't
go out there and
visit.
look at it again.
We have to.
Yeah, and take a look and make sure that,
Tuesdays and Thursdays at Clay County Jail is usually open. But
okay,
I can be around if I know ahead of time,
Okay,
okay.
okay, Jane.
because I have the key.
Oh,
Oh, all
good.
right.
When was the last time it was used as a polling place?
I'm guessing probably 1998 maybe,
I think that's
because
what
we
you
had the
just
flood of
said.
98,
Mhm.
and then we had it all redone. Then we had the flood of 2004,
Mhm.
Yeah,
but,
Which is
so I'm
another.
guessing, I don't know for sure, I don't know.
Consideration of
We can make it
flooding.
okay.
We have flooding issues.
Yeah.
Thank God we haven't had one since.
But yeah, Jana, we can, if leave your number with one of the girls and I'll get a hold of you and maybe some of the board, and we can go out there. Maybe
We
just have-
probably have it.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
get it. We'll contact you within the next couple of weeks and maybe try to do a little road trip out there and take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
that's really all I wanted.
Okay, well, you're more than welcome to
We are
stay.
more than welcome.
And I'm fighting to keep that school open.
It's a hot topic.
If I can find out when the meeting's on. But anyway,
yeah.
Yeah, I think the
I don't think any of the elementary should. I'm sorry.
Mondays, I think Fort Fry meets Monday nights, I think.
Oh, change their minds. They do little things. All right.
Well, again, thank
All right,
you, and
thank
thank you
you.
for bringing it to our attention, because we certainly want to look at these things. Because we have some interest in schools, but in part, it has to do with the location of, and getting people, and then the ADA compliance is, quite frankly, we have learned over the years that a lot of places, we sort of call them church ADA, where someone will come and help someone in
Yeah.
because it's a little too steep or they don't have this. And unfortunately, we can't go that route. We have to, I mean, we're out measuring with tools and
Yeah.
it feels like micrometers and everything else, making sure that it complies with the ADA. Because otherwise we're gonna be subject to litigation
It was
and,
supposed to be.
yeah.
It was put in there.
And so again, I'm saying, that sometimes that's always been a problem
Yeah.
for us in certain locations, or the surface is sort of the wrong surface. And so those are important issues.
So where's parking there? Is
The
it,
electric,
because,
they just park, there's a handicap parking right as you come in, and then they just park there on.
right off of
It's like a
821?
basketball court from
Packet
the
of things we got from this person.
that-
They're all
Okay.
different.
with our grant.
Because we can do temporary parking and make additional
By the sign.
handicap. We have,
Out front, there's on the other side there.
mark it off and everything, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get a hold of you and we'll
Parking
come
lot
out.
below, but,
I didn't know if they could park right off the state highway or not, right there on
No.
the street. They
they
can't.
don't usually.
They don't usually.
Sometimes
Okay,
there's a big funeral, they park
okay.
over at the parking lot that really belongs to the bank that they don't really use.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't need.
And but it's across the street though,
Yeah,
right, isn't it? Okay, okay. All right, well, we'll be in touch with you. Thanks
All right,
for
thank you.
coming. We appreciate
Super.
it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have a fair amount, you probably have seen in your emails and so forth. Number of directives, a lot of correspondence.
Yeah, so, with the first directive there, the 2202, that was for the, to regulate adult use of cannabis. We didn't get any of these second, when they did their supplemental parts, we didn't get any of those. So, yeah, so that's saving us doing.
So did it actually make the ballot?
I still haven't heard anything. I never saw any correspondence from the state or
No, I haven't seen anything.
anything about it, so I don't know. So,
Oh, you like this?
I would think pretty soon we'd have to be getting something if we need to put it on a ballot,
Yeah,
so
I would
hopefully.
think.
Then there's the directive 2203, and you have copies of it for the House Bill 93, which has to do with some of the redistricting. And then
And is that the one that changes the date?
it's for
Filing
the
to March.
filing to
Yeah.
March 4th
Yeah.
at 4 PM. from
For
February
US
2nd.
House, right?
Right.
Only,
Yeah,
yeah.
HB 93, if I understand, also gave our office the ability to change some internal deadlines, like ballot proofing and LNA testing and all that.
okay.
We'll see how useful that remains.
Right, depending on what
Given our,
happens.
where we sit, yeah. Could be entertaining.
There's the directive 2204 is updated, where the election official manual was updated.
Yeah, and that's a pretty significant document.
Did anybody, we were allowed to public comment on that, so I didn't know if anybody, I was comfortable with everything that they put in there, so.
And then we had the directive 2222, the examination verification of candidate petitions. These were statewide candidates that filed with the Secretary of State's office. And I actually don't have them in here with me, but if you want to look at those petitions, we've already checked them and sent our certifications into the Secretary of State's office.
So you're in good shape.
Yeah, but if you want to look at those, we have them that you can look at them. The letter there, it says a letter from Hong Wang. This was a whole packet of information that
This is
came.
something.
Yeah,
Oh, you've heard of
Caleb
her,
was reading
or
part of
him.
it there. I believe we've gotten something from this person before. But if anybody, I didn't make copies because it's pretty lengthy. so if
And it
anybody
wasn't a
wants to
public
look at it.
records request, it was
No, it's not a
just
request.
informational having to do with China and how China is involved in our elections.
Does he want the board to do anything?
Well, I don't believe so.
It's just an FYI
It's just
thing.
kind of information.
He sent it to every elected official in Ohio, every boards of election. Every member of Congress, so.
And like I said,
So
I
if you're-
do think
If you can't
because,
sleep one night, we can give you a packet and I guarantee you that'll probably. Which is.
Pretty lengthy, huh?
yeah, I mean, it kind of has to do with some, this person believes are injustices or things that are wrong that are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Falun Gong is sort of a cult,
Mhm.
so. I mean, they're a cult that hates Chinese communism, that doesn't make it a good cult.
That's, yeah.
Interesting YouTube videos on it.
No. Okay.
And then there's a copy of the letter that the OAEO, our association, sent to the Senate President Matt Huffman, saying that we do not want two primaries.
And I was wondering if you would mind if Mandy and I could send this to our elected officials, just on our behalf as the deputy and director, asking them to not have two primaries. So,
That we support.
because they asked us to share this with our own elected delegation. And I think I'm gonna talk about, the fact, not that we've had any problems, but most counties can't find poll workers and then you wanna have two primaries.
Well, increasing cost.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
that's what
gonna-
I said, is the General Assembly gonna give us money to run that other election?
Because we'd have to buy, two sets of ballots, you'd have two sets of poll workers, two sets of coding, two sets of
Yeah.
testing,
What brought this about?
two sets of everything.
Because they can't, decide on, the Supreme Court denied a second time the maps, the redistricting of the map, of the congressional and Ohio General Assembly seats.
And if they were to have two primaries and space them less than a month apart, how are you gonna have a full period of early voting
Exactly.
for both elections going at the same time? It's
Exactly.
not
Right.
possible, right?
Well, I like Dennis's,
I mean, it'd
when
be
I
a
talk about what
nightmare
you
to
came
try
up
to-
with.
Well, my one thought was whether you could have, again, legislation that was passed for the purpose of this primary, where it would be 10 days in length, 10 calendar days, not business days. So you'd have a weekend involved, and it would be in one location per county.
To have your
Because you're
voting.
going to
So
have
like
one,
early
you're
voting
gonna have
only.
one
In here.
going to have one spot, and 10 days should be sufficient. Or if it's not, make it 14, or make it 10 days of voting and 14, you can apply 4 days at a time or something for your absentee ballot, because there are people that are legitimate absentee ballots in the sense of not just, I want to
They
vote
can't
by
get out of
mail,
their
but I
house.
physically can't go
I
vote.
mean, we'll roll with whatever the legislature passes, but we would prioritize things that would minimize voter confusion. Stick
Oh, to be sure.
traditional,
But your
primaries.
answer then is cancel the primary until you have the House taken care of, and then have one primary in June or July would be the other answer.
Mhm. We'll see what happens.
Because you certainly want enough time
Very low turnout.
for,
Right.
because you need
Which I mean would be fine with
45
me if
days
we
or
had,
so
Yeah.
for people who are out of the country, so.
So your question is whether you may send it to
Yeah.
our local, or not our state legislators.
When are we due for ballot purchases?
That'll be, or we'll vote on those at the next meeting for
Right.
the advance. But we are, and it's down in here, they're coming in to do our ballot coding at the end of the month on the 22nd and 23rd.
Right.
And we've got plenty of paper right now, but we're gonna order paper for November
Right.
to
Yeah,
ensure that we
yeah.
have plenty.
Can we do that through the,
I know.
We do it through RT,
Purchase.
or Runback, we do it through Runback. I was thinking maybe.
He was
I'd run
just
in
here
the-
this week.
Yeah.
He quoted us
In the- oh, It was gonna be about $2,600 for
Yeah.
15,000 sheets of paper. And that didn't include mailing and the cost for shipping costs.
Right.
So I mean, it might be close to 3,000.
Which should give us plenty and even maybe make us through the primary next year.
Because we counted, we have about 12,000 right now, currently here, sheets of paper. And then, so that gives us 27,000 for the whole year.
Right.
And that's just, for mail outs
To be
is
sure.
what it would only be
Right.
used for, so.
Well, mail outs and the occasion.
Occasional person that would ask for a
Wants
paper
paper,
ballot
yeah.
here in the office, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're good with us sending this out then?
Yes, you guys okay with that?
Okay.
I don't think it's, they need to,
Wait.
probably.
Yeah.
And feel free to do it yourself if you have a relationship with them. On first name basis. I also shared all of the directives with Nicole and Allison as well, so they are familiar with it.
Thank you. All right, so I think that takes care of correspondence, so we're up to business.
Yep, which we have our petitions here for our local candidates. And all of them, there was just 3, met the signature requirements and they were properly completed.
Filled out.
So we have the one for Kevin Ritter, Matthew Livingood for auditor, and Mark Carney for judge of common pleas court.
You're all running unopposed?
Yes.
So far.
Yep.
Write-ins
I
have
mean,
to
there's still a
fill,
write-in deadline. I think
Non-party.
non-parties, yeah.
it might be the 22nd, I think, might be the deadline for it. Of this month. And so you can wait till it gets down.
RENYI.
Karen with an E, R, double 5 I, okay. Was there one that you signed?
I did not sign one, nor did I circulate.
I was thinking somebody said,
Cause I
they
asked,
thought they saw one of,
is Kevin Wright like you?
No,
maybe it was one on one of the other.
Maybe it was.
ones.
double checking, but no, I don't see my signature.
Okay.
I would have signed the other 2 though.
Did you guys sign minutes?
No,
Oh, no.
You just started one. Charlie's got one here.
All right, thanks.
got some bills I'll have you to sign.
Oh,
over,
yeah, right, yeah,
Cause I need to change Charlie's.
right. No problem.
And the statewide petitions, we'll be sending those back to the Secretary of State's office today, so that they can get back in time.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the petition of Kevin Ritter for County Commissioner, Mark Rennie for Judge at Commonwealth Court, and Matthew Livingood for Auditor of the County.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes.
All right, so next up, we have our, these were ones, I don't know if you want to look at them, they were for the 94th and 95th House District. They were sent to the other counties that are the
The
most
primary,
popular.
the most popular.
Yeah, but if you wanted to glance at them, and then there was one for Leanne Johnson that's for the Member of State Central Committee women.
Do they have to vote on those or they don't?
Yeah, we don't have to because the
Oh, okay,
most
we're not
popular is
the
county.
County is actually the one, yeah, we just have the staff check them,
Yeah,
right?
they've been
Send
checked
your
and sent back to
results.
those,
Right,
yeah, to the
if
counties
you want
they
to
go
take
to.
a peek.
But then we do have our issues that'll be on the ballot locally. So at the top of each one of these.
Each one of these is an issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have some. So this one is, yeah, this one is a Belpre City Fire and EMS levy that they're wanting to renew.
Okay.
It's
Now,
on-
has this language passed?
That one we haven't got back from the state yet. There's a
Okay.
few of them we've gotten back, but that one we
Right.
haven't.
And do they pass through, any of these through the law directors and or prosecutor?
Usually the prosecutor or the city law director writes up their resolutions
Right.
ahead of time. And
Even
then
for the schools?
the schools, they get like a lawyer
Oh,
that'll do
okay, okay.
theirs. But like that one, it's the Belpre City one, I think was done by their law director. So the schools have their own lawyer, but like the townships is usually the prosecutor's office.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Do they have to vote on these separately?
they could do it as a group.
Okay, so that,
You could
what was this
group
one?
them. That was
Belpre,
Belpre City.
Belpre City 181.
It's a fire and EMS.
Renewal.
It's
A renewal.
yeah. And then this one for Wolf Creek Local Schools, this one is a renewal too, for an emergency levy they'd already had on.
Emergency, and it's a renewal as well?
Yeah, emergency operating expenses.
Never understood that. If it's an emergency, how is it?
I know, I kind of wondered that, I thought that myself.
Perpetual emergencies.
Yeah, it's always been emergency.
It's contingent.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nothing is.
Well, it's like California, there's always a fire somewhere.
Yeah.
There's two for Marietta City Schools. They are both renewals. One is in operating expenses. That's current operating expenses is that one. And then the other one's a renewal for permanent improvement levy.
And they're both renewals?
Yeah, they're both
Okay.
renewals.
Operating and one's for permanent improvement?
Yeah, permanent improvements.
Right, yeah. Textbooks to buses, technology and building.
And then this one is for the, I don't know if you want to call it mental health levy, behavioral health levy for the county, is a renewal for that.
Right.
It's already on.
Was that one 5 years? Has it
Yeah.
been 5 years already?
I know. And then Belpre City Schools has a bond issue and tax levy, and so that's additional.
Right.
That's a new one.
They're doing an income tax,
No, it's a bond issue.
Bond issue,
bond
And
issue,
tax levy.
and then yeah.
and a tax levy.
Yeah, it's grouped all together.
So they're
I think
selling
they-
bonds, but they're also
0.5
increasing
mil.
taxes.
Yeah, but they have to like, I think they're required because it's through that the program with the state. So they're required to put a tax on, like, that helps pay for the bonds.
Okay,
You know, it's like a package deal, kind of.
Yeah, this was, I think, the part of the discussion we got while we were walking around, remember, at the buildings when we were in Belpre,
mm-hmm,
and they were talking about, their improvements, et cetera, they were making. Remember, they were tearing down the building.
yeah, that building behind me.
And then we have East Muskingum Township Fire District has a renewal of a levy on.
Yeah, fire and EMS.
And this is a new levy?
No, that's
Renewal.
Renewal, okay.
Yeah.
And then for the Village of Lowell, they have an operating expenses levy that's a renewal. For current operating expenses.
Right.
Hmm.
And then last, Watertown Township, it's a streets and roads levy that is additional, so that's a new one.
Township, Undertown Township.
Yeah, they had this on in November last year as
And
well,
it barely,
and it failed, so they were putting it back on again.
now, my question.
Yeah.
If we have two primaries, are these on the first primary ballot?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely the sort of question that I can just answer right. Go and talk to, the highest falutin lawyer you can say, and it's like, well, you didn't get an answer from Caleb, so.
I won't quote you in the minutes then.
No, honestly, I have no clue, no clue. It would
I
be,
haven't made a decision to make.
it would be what if, because you could do it where like the federal primary is one day and the state primary is another day, or you just have primaries of, everything we know, right? Statewide offices, county offices and so on, and everything that's district-based another day, like legislature could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They could, they could have it be one office per day for a month till everything's voted on, and honestly, no idea. It would just be, like, right now, a lot of counties are still preparing for a May 3rd primary until that becomes no longer the case. Then you roll
I
with
mean, that's
that.
what we're doing, that's what we gotta do.
Yeah,
So-
that's what we have to do. The key to it is hopefully that, again, for smaller towns like us, that we're not spending a lot of money on ballots,
Already.
printing, the physical ballots, in case people don't want the machine.
And there's the other problem with two primaries, is if you split it up, in 2020 with that whole mess, it was still the March 17th primary. You
Yeah.
fill out your absentee ballot for the March 17th primary, but it was already, March 29th.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
So
The
here it's
actual
like,
election
are we
was
gonna be
April.
voting in June, but you still have to label your ballot for the May 3rd primary or something?
Yeah.
Right.
And then if you have two primaries, are they both supposed to be called the May 3rd primary? Again, whatever they send out.
Yeah. And then when you get into issues, if you label it that way, I didn't vote in the first one, I'm gonna vote in the second one, so give me a
Right, people
full
would be,
ballot.
yeah,
Oh, my.
and people
What
don't
if
understand.
somebody pulls a Republican ballot in the first half of the primary
And
and
then
wants to vote Democrat in the second half of the primary?
Exactly, exactly.
Maybe that'd be possible, but what do you put down for your data recording for their party registration?
Right,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Whole mess.
yeah,
yes.
I never.
we look forward to a
That is
resolution.
why our office is not one of two primaries.
Yeah.
All right, Mandy, help me here.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to accept the proposals for proposed tax levy for Watertown Township for construction, reconstruction, resurface, and repair of streets and roads.
Good job.
That was the easy one. Proposed tax levy renewal for the Village of Lowell for the current operating expenses.
Yep.
Proposed tax levy renewal for East Muskingum Township for fire and emergency medical services.
Yep.
Proposed tax levy additional for Washington County for essential prevention, treatment, and recovery program for children, adolescents, and adults at risk.
Actually, that one's a renewal.
What's
Sorry,
that?
that one's a renewal. I think I had it wrong on that. I need to change the paper in there.
Okay, then I'll make that renewal.
Yeah.
Proposed bond issue and tax levy for Belfry City School District. Renee.
Yep.
That was fix these. Proposed tax renewal for Wolf Creek Local School District for providing for the emergency requirements of the school district. Proposed tax levy renewal for Marietta City School District for the permanent improvement, including textbooks, school buses, technology, and building renovations. Proposed tax levy renewal for Marietta City School District for current expenses. Proposed tax levy renewal for Belpre City for fire and emergency medical services.
Second that.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right.
All right, there was, in there, the RBM, they did, updating to our voting equipment. And they came in and that's already been done, and there's a list of the updates, in your packet. There's an overview of release 2.2. And that had been approved, I think it was at the end of the year, last year, from the Board of Voting Machine examiners.
So this means updated training for the poll workers. Because there's different ways how we close down the machines now.
Yeah, there's an easier way to close it.
Easier way.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure it is.
it is easier. Well, every time we get something in our office, it's supposed to be easier and better. It
Yeah.
never is.
So RBM's actually gonna come in and help do our training because of that.
And then we had listed in there that invoice that you had already agreed.
Right.
And then we have in there the days they're coming in for the coding, February 22nd and 23rd. And then to help us with the LNA testing at the end of March, March 29th, 30th, and 31st.
Will they have to return if something is happening with primaries?
Yeah, if we would have two primaries, then we'd have to.
What if it's just an extended date? Will the coding still suffice?
They would have to change a little bit, potentially, depending on what we had to name the primary and, if we'd had to change the name of it.
Yeah, and is this? any
Or if our
of-
districts
right.
change.
Is any of this in money we've already paid to RBM
I don't believe so. I think
as
we've.
part of our, maintenance or upkeep or whatever?
I believe the update they did for this release of the 2.2 where they upgraded that
Right.
was included.
Was included.
But the rest of this would not be.
All right, so but we have an agreement on price at least as to what it is.
Yeah,
Okay. And again, this is something they do. This is not something we could have tech people do.
if they were trained, on how to do it, then yeah, we could have other people do it.
Are we maintaining?
I don't know,
But that would be-
I don't know if our IT staff with the county, can they code?
No, they couldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, or like the LNA testing, they could,
That they could do?
if they were trained on how to do it, although I don't know if they would be available to,
Could they shadow RBM on those days and learn how to do it?
we'd have to check with them to see if
Well-
that's something they'd be willing to.
Well, we ought to at least look into it, don't you think? And the other, I guess my other question would be, how permanent are the IT folks in the county?
They've all been here for quite a while now.
All right, so it's not like that
For several
they're
years.
coming in for a couple of years, getting something and running off to another corporation or company somewhere.
And
Okay.
Not as of yet, anyway.
I believe, was the commissioners looking at someone with cybersecurity background? And they haven't hired anybody in that capacity yet, have they?
No, but I know.
Okay. Well, my only point was, I just was curious to make sure that we weren't doing something and then, we get them all trained up for, 3 months and they're gone and we're back to RBN and so forth. Not that that's a bad thing, but okay,
Right.
all right.
The people that are gonna do our shredding for us are coming in on March 1st.
They were backed up because of the weather and the holidays.
So they do that on site then?
No, they take it.
Yeah, so they'll
But they
come
give us
and-
certification that they destroyed them. The other one, Gator is the one that did it on site, and they cost a little bit more.
Yeah, it was quite a bit more. I think.
Yeah, so.
That was my memory of it, yeah.
Yeah,
Cause they
so,
charge so much just for coming, and then they charge so much per box or.
because I've been talking with Pam Sullivan, the sheriff's office has quite a bit, like a whole building of stuff that needs to be shredded. But they want to see it shred, I guess. I'm like, I don't care, as long as you certify that it's shred and,
Well, we've had a number of other folks in our area, boards of elections.
Yeah,
Use
have to
this
use
system.
this system,
Yeah, the
yeah.
same.
Right.
Then the state had asked for this sample registration readiness file, from the Secretary of State's office. So a Triad had made that file for us. They're the ones that always do make our NCOA and supplemental files. And so we uploaded that to the Secretary of State's office.
Okay.
So later this year, we'll probably be sending out letters, to people, to voters for those.
Okay.
So, and speaking of that, actually, a large mailing. Wasco no longer does our mailing. The commissioner's office, they put the postage on our mail for us. Well, they require that the envelopes be sealed. With Wasco, their machine sealed the envelopes as it put the postage on them. So I don't know if there's such a thing as a machine that would just seal envelopes for us that we could get. Because if we're mailing out 5,000 letters like we did last year as part of the NCOA, that's a lot of sealing that we have to manually do, yes.
And their machine is pretty sensitive. We're using those stick-em.
They look like a bingo dollar.
Yeah.
We have to
And
seal them.
we kept getting since we've been down at the commissioner's office, we kept getting letters back without postage on them. Well, we think what's happening is that these things, the envelopes are sticking together when we take them down. And when they put them through the machine, it's not reading or putting the postage
It
on.
misses, yeah.
So we're trying to dry them out. So if there is such a machine that, or maybe go with, we have plenty of envelopes, but maybe go with self-stick envelopes or something like that,
But still, that's more, there is
That
a
would be-
certain amount of extra work.
yeah.
Who had the machine that Wasco used?
I thought the commissioners just bought it back from them, but they didn't. They have their own machine. But she did indicate that they may be looking into buying a bigger machine. I'd like to know where the Wasco machine went, because I wouldn't.
Could you ask them?
Yeah, we can
Because-
find
We could
out.
ask Wasco.
It could be that, again, I don't know that the county wants us putting the postage on. But if you could turn that part of it off, so to speak,
Mhm.
and still seal them, we'd have our own.
Well, it's
own
that
to
machine
seal.
that Wasco had, we needed a whole, it was
It was-
huge.
yes,
It's
big.
one wall. It was huge.
It would take up like this whole
Yeah.
wall here.
It was a big, big machine. It was like something at the post office. It was big.
No, we don't have a place for that.
Yeah, we don't have a place for that.
Well,
Just to think of.
I said we could
moving
get
it.
what's one of the dogs that?
Something that drools a lot.
Get an office dog and,
yeah, right.
I'll take him home at night.
yeah, and you can take care of
And
him.
feed him.
I want to see the trainer that does that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're out there, I think, looking at the and then there's the statewide petitions I'd already mentioned, have been checked, and we'll be sending them back to the Secretary of State's office today. But everything's been uploaded, our results from checking them, and the certification forms that were required.
Right, so
And
we're,
then
schools, right?
Yeah, if there was any more discussion on.
Well, did we notify Newmat Elementary, Newport Elementary, and Waterford High School, if you will, or
And Belpre.
and Belpre?
Yes, I did. I didn't hear anything back, so I guess they're okay with it.
Well, that was gonna be my
yeah,
next question.
Yeah, I never heard
That we didn't
anything
hear
back.
it.
I did tell them that it
Oops.
would not be for this primary. It starts November because it coincides with their school year. Stephanie is the only one that I did talk to about Lower Salem. We haven't made a decision on Lowell. After the meeting, I can't do it while we're Zooming, but I was able to download, if you remember that tool that we learned about at the conference on Friday that can help you set up voting locations. I did play around with it and I actually sent it to Jason Piles at Buckeye Hills, who's, the GIS guru out there. And he said, yeah, it was pretty simple. So I can show you on the big screen if you want to hang out afterwards. And we can kind of look and see with that tool that woman from California, the doctor from California was talking about. But, we still don't know about Lowell. She said that they could keep school open and that they would have the teachers park on the streets. We would have the whole parking lot. Now, they still would need buses, but the buses wouldn't necessarily, because the way that curves, the buses wouldn't have to stop right there at the front door. It could, they may have some backup. So I don't know what you're thinking about Lowell. I know you're not trying to put a smaller precinct on their own. So,
Right, okay,
thoughts to ponder.
yeah.
And we still need to work with Warren. We haven't been able to warn yet either, so.
Right.
And for the public records request, what we got on it, we've actually gotten this a couple times, this same request, and we have responded and sent the person what they're asking for, and I didn't make a copy of it in there, but I'll pass it around. There it is. And it came certified mail, but they're asking for the AEP plans, which is the election administration plans that we have, which we sent them the redacted versions that are for public release of the ones we have.
So it's the exact same request?
Yeah, it's the exact same request. And we got this just the other day after we've already gave them.
And she even emailed her back and said, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
And
and
then we got
acknowledged
this.
that she got the email, so, of where I emailed them to the person. It's my understanding several counties are getting these same requests, so.
Well, if we've already responded, I don't think there's anything more
And are they,
to do.
the plan they're looking for is one that was created as far back as 2016.
Yeah, which we only do them though on, even numbered years.
Right,
So they're asking for some that are in odd numbered years, like 17 and 19.
Yeah,
Which I don't have.
16 would be 17.
Yeah,
It would
which
be one and
is-
the same.
Yeah, which is what I had explained in the email to the person
Right.
when I sent them.
Right. So we would have then replied for 16, 18, and 20.
Yeah,
And,
for 22, we haven't gotten any information on
well, they haven't asked,
completing it
right,
yet.
and
Yeah.
they haven't asked for it.
Right. Yeah, if I remember properly, it was the exact same wording, both times.
Sunday.
Sunday. You got games this weekend? Do you have games? Kids bring kids games?
That was last weekend
Last
in Florida.
Oh, that's right, they were
Do
doing.
we know this lady?
I don't know her personally.
She was
but
a poll
does live
worker.
locally.
She was a poll worker for us in 2020 in November in Reno.
Who is it?
Jolene Graham. She did not work for us last year, but
That's doing this.
yes. I think she's a Dr. Frank person.
You know what?
A Dr. Frank person. That's my assumption, but I don't know.
That's, yeah.
Surprising coming from a former poll worker.
Mm.
Well, it appears as though we've responded. And
I may call her and just say, you know, we sent you everything we had, we got your certified letter, just to be,
No, email her.
email
So
her.
we have a record of what you told
Okay.
her.
yeah, we want a record.
Okay,
Definitely want a record, so it's
Okay.
not a situation where they say, well, she said,
okay,
and you're trying to, you know,
all right. I
wait a
will
minute,
do
that's
that.
not, you know.
We didn't get it on the agenda action, but we had a quote in here from Intermeeting Solutions in your packet. For quotes for our curtains that we have over here on our, and our curtains and the voting booths.
Or seven,
Yeah.
Show
seven,
and tell time.
Show and tell.
seven,
Is our model for the.
Yeah, I'll be the Vanna White.
thank you.
Hey,
Seven,
Jen, can you get on the
seven
other
of
side of this
these would allow us 14 places. And I believe the way I would set them up is I would turn them that way.
It's the opposite of what you're saying now.
Well, yeah, at least, 90 degrees. So that they'd stick out here and stick
Oh,
out
yeah, I see what
here
you're
and
saying.
stick out there. So
I'm
we
afraid
could
I
get
must
three, and
Rush
one.
back to, way back to Orville.
Oh,
Chamber
wow.
of Commerce lunch at 11:30 and
Oh,
it's
geez.
2 hours down, 2 hours
Oh,
back.
gosh.
We better get.
Well, enjoy yourself, have safe travels. It looks like
Thanks
you
for
have a
coming.
nice day for it, so that's helpful.
Yeah,
Well,
Yep.
Good to see
thanks
you.
for
all right,
coming.
good to see you, Caleb, take
Take
care.
care.
All right, we'll see ya.
So the Freedom Votes fit up here, we put them, there's
We
30
tested
enough.
them, yeah.
This also
We
moves,
request that they send us this?
no, he just sent it to
Well,
us.
yeah, I think we
Yeah.
kind of talked.
Oh,
I
they said
talked
that-
to them.
This is not the one that we were looking at, is it?
Yeah.
This is.
It didn't have the curtains on it, I don't
Just
think.
didn't have
Okay.
curtain.
At the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotcha.
conference.
Gotcha.
And it does adjust, did we have one of them lowered? On the other
Yeah,
side?
you can,
So you can have one,
Down one
Yeah.
notch lower so that you could.
yeah, this one actually, this one's already
Oh,
lower.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, you have to pull it off with the.
Yeah,
Or so you can leave
Don't
that.
hurt yourself, please.
But, yeah, this one you can see here is lower than the.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
and to me,
This is the one that we
I was
talked about.
surprised at the price, yeah,
We
and
got
copy.
the picture of the.
But I'm gonna be
bags
honest with you,
That we asked about too, we could show them.
I'm not saying we couldn't have something that was as clever, but maybe for in here, $12,000. I mean, I hate
And the
to say this
$12,000
for
includes-
equipment, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, well, the 12,000 also includes the rolly bags we wanted for the, poll books. So that's not just for the,
Right,
The transport trolley?
yes, it's for the poll books, Karen's getting the picture.
yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was, the price was less. I was just amazed when I saw the price, $700, $200, $900 basically for this setup. And again, it seems to me, it would solve our issues with folks who are concerned. We can put the seated portion to the outside so that if you had a wheelchair coming in, you wouldn't have to try to Ouija it in, on the wall.
here's the poll pad transportation. You can fit 4 of those, comes on
Cover the
wheels.
poll books.
Yeah, full of the poll books in there. It's on wheels and we can pull them. So I
And on
thought,
the other side, it shows the, shows the.
But I think that-
I remember seeing those.
I think that'll help save, that means less of those carts that they have to put on
On the truck, the
trucks.
delivery trucks.
I think that protects those pole pads. I think that's part of the problem is when they're in the trucks, They're getting,
flying around.
yeah,
Can you, does it say here how many you can stack?
you can put 4 in each.
No,
No, stack.
Oh,
You could probably do several, I would think, on top of each other.
But it looks like that,
they're soft.
They're soft, but the
soft.
cases are hard, the whole book cases,
yeah, it's true.
so they won't.
so they won't collapse.
Yeah,
Yeah, when it collapses down, I think the storage will be fine. Now, it may mean taking up more room in the truck, I don't know. I mean, Jen, see what you think.
Doesn't seem like that much more room, I mean, other than the
Our
table.
voting.
Not the- not the-
Not the, just the poll
Oh,
pads.
I was gonna say, the.
no, those aren't going out to the polling locations, that's just for.
That's for early voting.
That's for early voting in.
Yeah, that's
okay.
just for-
I was gonna say, our machines will never set on there.
Yeah, they
They
will.
fit,
Yeah, we've already had them
Be
on.
tipsy as can be, because they're pretty long.
no, we tried.
We tried them.
Okay.
We finished,
We put
Yeah.
into the weight limitation limit, it was pretty.
Oh, it's significant, yeah. I mean, that, the amount of weight that thing will take is pretty.
And if you don't think
substantial.
we need, I put 7 in here, I don't,
No,
Oh, I asked about the curtains. You can order different colors, but these are in stock and we'll get them faster.
okay. The only reason I suggest a neutral color of curtain is I didn't want a situation where maybe there were people who either suspected that there was something done to the blue side or the red side. And,
Right.
and therefore they wouldn't go there and we start to get a backup because we didn't have sufficient
Mhm.
sides of one or the other, was my only concern. And
Jed, would you move the curtains from the center out? I wanna see how they're hooked up.
so,
They have like a,
Okay, that's good, I can see from
yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they have like a
here.
little,
No, don't
no,
close it.
no, we want to see how it's
See how
hooked to
the
the equipment,
Pole.
Where they go together.
where that pole
Here,
slides
in the
down
middle, in
into
the
a
middle.
slot. I'm thinking, does it slide all the way to the bottom of that round?
yeah, like it
Just the first notch.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like there are 2 notches.
There's a metal piece right here,
Right, well,
this
there's
piece
the,
is separate, and you slide it down into here, it goes, I think, down about in here.
yeah,
But there's a little pole that's maybe, a little clip that's maybe about this long, that's on this metal, this piece, that slides down into this black piece.
all right, and,
I can maybe pull.
that worked well.
I lost an eye.
Yeah, so you can see there what it,
Yeah,
Wonder if our welding
Man,
program,
that's just cheap, you
wonder
know,
if our welding program could produce that part.
yeah, yeah.
there you go.
I mean, if that's on.
But I mean, but that comes apart so that you can, so that you can store it.
That's not
You can flatten it out to store it.
Fly out. The only thing I liked about it is that when you tug on it, the cloth,
well, I think what we're gonna do is, because feels a little flimsy. Maybe have a poll worker help, and maybe they're the ones that will open and close the
I
curtain.
mean, I
so
think
they
you
can
could
be a
just
little
leave the
gentle.
curtain closed, I just leave it
Yeah, or
closed
just leave it
the whole
closed the
time.
whole time.
And people just
Yeah,
move it enough to get
50% of them aren't gonna matter,
Yeah,
quite frankly, because they're against the wall. If you're doing it the way I think it should.
well, so you're saying maybe we only need, I don't know if they come in sets, or can we get half
No,
sets?
I think they come as a set.
Yeah, but again, that doesn't
I think we
matter.
want both.
You
of
can
them.
have all of them, but you don't necessarily have to either put them up, or you put them up, but that back wall, you obviously leave open.
Mm-hmm,
But it just helps with the side view of, you can't see anything
mm-hmm.
on the.
Right,
on
because
that.
there's gonna be someone on, just down from
Because
them.
they're only, there'll be somebody that's, there's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. There's one here, one here, one here, one
Yeah,
here.
So you
There's
still
your
have to
seven.
have the
Yeah.
curtain, but.
So you'd have the curtain to make people feel comfortable, but they don't need to close it, because there's,
So 7, so we have 14, that means 14 voters can vote at the same time. How many did we have, Jen? Do you remember when we were over here?
I think we had at least 20 over there.
see, I thought it was more like 16.
Maybe
I
it
thought we were
was.
close, I thought we were pretty close to it,
I think 16.
16, so we're only two less.
Yeah,
So even next, 2024, that,
I was thinking that the 7 would be sufficient.
yeah,
They are currently working on
that's what the curtain's
cleaning
going
out this room over here. That's what,
The noise is,
well, part of it, yeah. Because they're taking all of the stuff out of that room, the conference room over here, and moving it back in that corner. Because I'm trying to get us possibly some shelving that MRBD left back here in the back. If it's, nobody, accounts for it, we might be able to get some metal shelving that we can replace our wooden shelving with,
gotcha.
and we won't have to pay for it.
Well, the other thought, while we're not being in a big rush, because our primary, whenever it goes off, we may be able to get away with tables like that or something. Because the numbers may not be as big, I don't know, maybe the
Right.
numbers are gonna be huge.
Well, I think the use of that room is permanently
Well, no,
forbidden, because
I
I think they're
understand
gonna put
that,
cubicles in there,
but
so.
do we
Maybe.
have time to
I think it's
ask
kind of up in the air
our
still.
folks from the Career Center or someone to come and,
So what do you, I was playing with it, so I didn't get to hear, what are you looking at welding? I heard something about
well,
welding.
that would be the
Just
top
wondering if they
item,
can do the
but just
curtains.
looking at the whole unit, is that something that they could recreate using perhaps wood, unless they have access to that kind of plastic paneling, if you will,
I was gonna say, I would prefer not wood,
and then put,
Myself.
something,
yeah, and splintery.
well, I suppose.
Well, it's at least worth having them come and look and.
Yeah, I can talk
Is there
to,
2 cents
I'll
for-
look at my contact that made the,
We can or we
Yeah,
can't,
in our
then we go on.
I'll have them come out sometime and look at it and see if they can come up with something.
Because these will, if you take the curtains out, they come with a bag that you put the curtains in. And they'll fold flat, so, for storage, they
Do
can,
those screw
as they
in,
are now, you can fold them flat and put them away for storage.
Right.
Jed?
The thing that I think Kadeen and I were looking at,
Yeah,
Those, we didn't do anything.
so you can screw those in so they don't move too.
No, I think that's to adjust the, if
Ladder.
your
Oh, if
floor
they
is
get-
uneven.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
It's just.
We didn't do anything with those.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could
Okay.
slap a level on it and fiddle with it. But
Okay.
what Kadeen was mentioning is, and I agree with her, it seems to me the more appropriate length of that rod that goes down in that sleeve ought to be something akin to 7-8 inches
little
or
longer.
something. Partly so that when you take it out, it doesn't come flying out,
Springing.
Ticking.
or it doesn't come flying out
Sorry,
because
Karen.
somebody's yanking on something and they're tall and they
Yeah.
go like this and the thing smacks somebody in the nose.
Be careful if you take that out of there.
Apparently, there's a bit of I'm thinking part of it is to help make it strong in that there's a certain amount of tension on that thing. See, you have to push it in just a little bit, which helps with its strength.
Yeah. There's a hole there that,
Yeah, there you go. But I'm just saying it would, even if they could look at that, because I'm guessing that black device is hollow.
Yeah.
It may have
Yeah.
2 channels, but it's hollow perhaps. So if it were possible to have a longer,
Yeah, the girls put them up.
Two.
He said it
we put
wasn't
it
hard
together
to,
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to the courthouse and came back and they had it up.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I think, again, it's obviously designed, and it works with our equipment, which is
Right.
the really important aspect.
Yeah.
And width-wise, it accommodates this room, which may be the only room in the foreseeable future we would have for our, in-person voting.
Well, he said if you can approve, we'll have these by the May 5th.
Yeah.
So let's have someone from the Career Center come and take a
Right.
look. Maybe they wouldn't be interested at all.
Right,
That's fine, but
exactly.
At least we tried and,
Right, at
and then
least
we
we
know
tried.
what, we also know what price.
What we
I
got.
think the hardest thing for them to do is
And Jed, did you see these?
I did not, no.
All right, from the standpoint of the delivery guys, is this got some bang for
You
the
think it would
buck?
be helpful? It's like a trolley cart that rolls.
Let me ask this, again, just for my education. The poll books, are they specific to a voting location?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm far more in favor of them now.
Mm-hmm.
Because this has been a situation where supposedly we've sent
But then what
poll
about
books to the
partial,
wrong
partial
location.
Yeah, so
That's why I ordered a little bit more because
poll?
we're gonna need,
Right, some of them might not, would have
6 of
three
them will
or
go down to the Washington
You know,
Fairgrounds.
and
not
maybe we
fairgrounds.
wouldn't use it if it got, if it were 2 machines. We'd use it 3 or 4, so that's what we need.
Mhm.
And, you just carry the extra one. But I'm just saying, if you had those dedicated to the voting locations, then you know when you put those machines in that and it's got its yellow stickers on it,
Mhm.
that these are yellow poll books going in a yellow bag
Mhm.
that's gonna be hauled into the voting location yellow. And hopefully we don't get in a situation where they open them up at 6 in the morning and go, that's New Matamoras is sitting there in Belgrade.
Is that worth the
Well,
expenditure?
the problem I see, you can't stack one on top of another with this. I mean, you can't.
Well, that's the other thing is-
We stack them on top of each other now when we put them in the truck.
What do you mean stack?
No, you keep them on the
loosely?
carts though.
No, we don't take the carts with us, we unload them off the.
Right, and you stack the poll books on top of one.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll stack them 3, 4 high.
I would think you
What
could
keeps them
maybe,
from flying around?
We strap them in.
Each of the poll books?
Well, not
stacks.
each of them, but
each staff.
The stacks.
yeah, we jam them up, and then when you get to the end, there's,
So why couldn't you stack them? Because they're,
you might be able to, except
got
for the
the
wheels,
wheels.
I don't know how you
Wheels
stack the
on the
wheels
bottom.
on top of the,
I guess that would be.
sideways.
yeah. I don't know that it would be an improvement, yeah, we'll have to try new things.
Well, I'm
I'm not
saying
sure.
it tilted sideways.
I'm not sure it would
You
be an
could maybe
improvement.
like-
Another thing, we
Well,
can move
then all you
about
do is pick it up,
20,
grade it.
25 machines from the room out to the truck on one rack. This would require 4 or 5 of those to move the same amount of at one time.
Well, that's only because you're using the feet at that point.
Does it look like those wheels would lock?
See, I would turn them on their side.
I don't think it looks
Does
The
like.
that-
wheels would stick out
They
one
would
way or
stack, they
the
would
other.
stack in that direction.
and then they
yes.
stack
Yes, they would stack
whatever
in
you
that,
want,
yes,
then
they
you
would.
just put them down and wheel it and go.
Yes.
And that's a telescopic
As opposed to
handle,
carrying
so the handle will come
apparently
in.
2 at a time.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
The
that's
handle
what
is
you
down
do
right
unless you
there.
stick 2 under your arms,
Yeah,
handle
okay.
2 and
So it
try
probably
to
just ends
waddle
up
in
against,
with 4.
Yeah.
so you can put it up against, flush against the cloth.
Yeah, because right there's the hinges.
Okay,
And you put this down, that way it's below the top of the,
yeah.
I don't know, what we're doing works fine, I don't know if we've got a problem with taking them out of the truck or putting them in the truck. The problem is a bottleneck between the truck and the back
I
room.
guess I'd like to know.
If you can send us one of those.
Because
We
I'm
could
just,
ask if
I'm
they-
curious
Yeah.
if that is in a plastic bag
They're
box
They're not cheap, so
and then
Yeah.
if we're
covered
gonna
with
commit to that,
Yeah.
They're expensive.
it better be a big
Yeah.
improvement. I'd be more amenable to buying those things than.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
that is.
Yes.
and then that thing's $300.
Yeah, it is.
$300.
$340.
$340.
Yeah, they're giving us a $40 discount.
Oh, my goodness. Guys, I don't believe that it would be worth our money.
Okay.
Right, okay, well, hey,
Thanks for checking.
yeah,
I will call the Career Center and see if they can come out.
yeah,
I will email him and find out what what's the latest we can order these to have them for May 3rd? Or April 5th, excuse me.
Yeah, because that's when we start.
Yeah, because
looking.
we'll need them before, we need them
Oh, yeah.
the month before.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because voting, will start here in the office on April 5th. And through the mail.
And we're looking to probably bring in Sheila again to help with that. And then Candy Nelson has told me several times that she's interested in she said just to come in to volunteer, but I think that she is a Republican and I need a Republican in here and
And
we'll
the,
see if
for
she
what
can
it's
get.
worth category, the
Yeah.
gentleman that Anita was helping has passed away, so we might call her. Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Still living?
I don't know nothing about the family, but we might call her and see if
Oh, so Anita's
she's
might be
available
available,
again.
or she may not be.
Yeah.
Now that he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And Candy might just want to come in for a little
Yeah,
bit, not.
yeah, so, yeah, Anita knows everything,
Well, it
yeah.
could be a work with two people, you
Yeah.
know, make
Yeah, because
things.
Anita does a lot of things, so there's times so we can maybe work with
Yeah.
both of them.
I mean, again,
She
having
would just
extra
review his
people that have
paperwork.
a comfort level of doing some work is a good thing.
So,
So, our next meeting is scheduled for March 9, which is a Wednesday.
are you back? Well, I will tell you, there is part of the redistricting meetings, I guess Secretary LaRose had COVID. It didn't note at the time, and so the Senate immediately passed that Zoom meetings can continue until July 1,
Yeah,
but
through
it's
June
stalled
30th.
in the House.
So it hasn't passed yet.
So if it passes, I will let you know, and you might be able to just join us on Zoom, and that way you can vote. March 9th, I will have another board member named, whether they'll be approved, but I'm sure that board member will be at the next meeting, right? I think,
Yeah,
yeah, March 9th. Okay.
oh, yeah.
So if that's the case, then I'll save you some money and you don't have to fly home.
They can attend and participate without approval?
The Senate passed it, the House has stalled it.
No, I mean, the new, member, your new member.
I don't think that they probably can't vote yet unless the Secretary of State has a.
Well, not till they get approved by the
Yeah.
Secretary of
So-
State.
There's just him being here, I mean, he's no good
Yeah,
if he's not been
not a
appointed.
real appointed member, you're right, so you probably have to.
Still have to be here. That's what I'm saying.
We may not be able to do anything.
Well, we could have the meeting at your place, I have no problem going there.
We'll just notice ahead of time.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
know.
great.
I'll pay for my own ticket.
Yeah, really. We just need a place to stay.
I only have one extra bedroom.
Well, you gotta
Yeah,
pull out
couch.
couch.
I have sleeping bags, I have air mattresses.
I do have
We
a
did
roll-out
nothing.
couch and a rollaway bed.
No problems.
Hey,
How
If
long
it's
does
warm
it
enough, I'll
take
sleep
the
outside.
Secretary of State?
Was when I
I think
left.
it wouldn't take them very long.
Oh, my
I don't
gosh,
think
is that
they'll
right?
get the-
Look at it, you can tell he's got a little
So
tail on
that
his
should be-
I'm
face.
so tired of
I
me.
mean,
I am
I'll be
too.
honest, I'd send them out
All
for,
right, so March 9th,
March 9th at
they need
8:30?
to go
Works for
through
me.
the
Okay.
FBI.
Yeah, they can do the background check.
They could do that, huh?
Yeah.
Anybody, any candidate who's in.
Really, I could.
Well, I'm taking paperwork with me, and as soon as they're voted, I'm gonna send it, because the next Tuesday, Monday is a holiday. So Tuesday, I'll send it to the Secretary of State right away.
Right, but they have, I know they'll have to have an FBI check. So they have to go to the sheriff's office.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna tell them, to go down the next day and try to get that.
And
Yeah,
hopefully it'll
well,
come
what they
back.
probably ought to do is somebody ought to call and see if we can't get an appointment. If they need an appointment, or can they just walk in?
You can walk in,
Okay,
we've been able to,
okay.
Yeah. I
And
mean, we
who
can make
pays
sure.
for it? We do?
yes.
Okay. All right, so the 21st, is that a holiday?
Yeah, that's President's Day.
Oh, that's right, it's
Yeah.
President's Day, because it's Monday.
Yeah.
All right, so Tuesday,
But I'm taking, yeah, as I said, I already told Willa and Tracy I'm taking the forms with me, so the person can fill them out that day.
right,
And they can fill out, because Tracy
Right.
and
we should
Willa.
Yeah, they'll have to sign.
probably ought to keep Caleb in the loop, maybe he
Yeah.
can put a
Mhm.
Yeah.
Little
they'll push
Village
on it.
and so
Yeah, we'll
forth.
let them know.
Okay.
And they have, this thing has been notified of Lynn's resignment, so.
Right, so we're on top
Yeah.
of that. So 9 works for me.
Yeah, it's fine.
9?
I think I have a golf point that day.
Oh, gee.
Well, we can have it out on the course. It doesn't say where we have to have it.
I mean, Dennis and I can bring our clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be the beer cart person, drink cart.
This is public record.
Drink cart person, let me.
There you go.
No, those are just for your information,
Yeah,
or
it's just
um,
original.
what vacation times we got left and comp time we got left.
You know, one of these proposal locations, you got anybody really whining about privacy? Hey, you wanna wait your turn, you can go in there.
I think they'll be fine.
I understand that, and some
If
of
they were
them,
cheaper, we might, but,
Well,
you know.
what we're doing is good, and I don't wanna imply that there's anything.
that works here very well, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
The other thing, we could ask someone, if someone were interested in doing a quick little sewing, is you buy those plastic sticks. They're about this, they weigh about 5 ounces. And they have a hole in them, and you would sew it into where that hem is on those. And you then.
Oh, like in hotels?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
if you were
Got it.
concerned that the yanking and pulling, it would.
Yeah, because
It would be easier because then you'd just be kind of pushing it at the source of where it's sliding.
Yeah.
Less likely to have a
because I
problem.
can see kids coming up under there. And
You're gonna have.
We don't have too many kids.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
my mother always made me stand back. I wasn't allowed to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
She probably wouldn't let you pull the
Oh,
push up.
She was very private. You have to stand right there.
they taught us how to pull the lever down.
Well, that lever was not
Fine, we gotta
easy
pull the
either.
lever down.
I had to punch holes.
I've never punched holes.
dangling.
Hanging shade. Oh,
Okay.
how we've changed.
Okay.
I think those are well made. Those are-
Yeah, oh, and the curtains are fire retardant,
Remember doing that.
by the way. They have a,
Maybe.
Yeah,
we
Remember
didn't know until we were putting them together. They, so if someone's in there,
It's
you
not a
know.
huge selling point for me.
somebody's in there and wants to set fire to it, it'll help slow it
It
up.
will help slow it, or if the building
It's
goes on
fire
fire.
retardant.
It's
Oh,
fire.
my goodness.
Yeah,
You could tear it down and run through some fire.
yeah, there you could run inside it and hope the fire passed you by or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
They have
But
a little-
again, I
they have a
did
little
like
one that
the
says that,
fact
so.
that it looked like it would set up well for us in that regard. As far as trying to get the roughly 14 spots for presidential. Because again, it may be in the smaller elections, we're not even putting up, we're gonna put up like 4 of them or, or 5 of them, kind of a deal. On our off years where we don't think there's
Right,
gonna be
but
large
not
turnout.
14,
7,
just 7.
yeah, having 14 voting.
So there's,
slots.
yeah, so that would make
For
14 machines.
I think they'd be
Yeah.
perfect. I think they're well made. They look good.
Yeah, and again, they do fit our equipment.
If they
which
fit the
was
equipment.
Really.
Yeah, we set them in there and plugged it in and, yeah.
So if he
I thought it was
says he needs to know sooner rather than later,
Well, hurry up and get the other folks, see if you can't get them here by
Okay.
Monday too. So,
okay,
And give them a deadline too.
okay.
Yeah, and we'll,
Well, I think the hardest part is gonna be the bottom for them.
yeah, they'd have to come up with some system. And again, I mean, I can envision a slip-in system where you would have feet that,
Well, they're just manufacturing, but it's a great project.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
Yes, it is.
same thing, with a pole system or something.
Oh, it looks good.
Slides into
I'm-
a pole that has legs that go.
I do too.
think
I
it'd be
agree,
fine.
I could understand, if we don't need the whole, the wagons, full pad wagons, but
Oh, I think that'd be
I
fine.
do, I like those.
Great.
I will call him.
I wish we could have them.
I think we're good, so.
I got that.
Right.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
The sleep.
All in favor? Aye. Now, I'm willing to stay because I have to sign stuff. You were gonna show something
Yeah, let
on the
me,
big screen.
Let me
So we need to
But
end
if
our.
I need to go, that